Hey, what's up, guys? This is Justin from Justice League Swag, and today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my blue-yellow Vegeta deck. So far, I've won 1 locals with it, and then I came in third out of like 20 players at the championship that we had at the shop. And I think the first place when I got with it, it was like first to like 14 players. So the deck is really good, and I've actually played against like the mirror match with it. Like, of course, they were running blue-red, but I was able to pull out the win because of stuff like Crusher Ball. So I'm going to start off first with my 1-drops. I am running 4 Whis Coercion, but I'm thinking about dropping this down to 2 or 3 just because it kept getting in my way whenever I wanted to combo out against a lot of opponents. So I'd rather have a plus 5k combo power. And I was thinking about making one of them another senzu bean and the other one another Mecha Frieza. So next up for the 1-drops is 2 senzu bean. Senzu bean with this deck I only use defensively. I use it for any decks that have a ton of 15k attackers, or if I'm playing against the blue-green Goku deck, which is what I built this deck just to beat. I senzu bean on one of my Whis, because I won the Whis blocker in this deck. So 2 senzu bean, gonna probably bump it up to 3. Next up is Boma. I'm only running 2 because after I get the Whis in my hand, if I'm going to play it, then I don't really need Boma, and I don't want to see a whole bunch of Bomas, and then like some of my Whis are in the life. So I run more Whis than Boma in this deck, and I don't run a lot of energy ramp cards because, I mean, it's kind of like a rush deck even though you're running yellow. You're just controlling what your opponent can attack with, essentially. Next, 1-drops. Energy boosted Boo. I'm running at 4. You want to play it early in order to build up your hand so you can go for a kill turn early. So turns 1 I'd play it, 2 I'd play 1, and then turn 3 I'd play 1 if I get all of them. But with my luck, I wasn't even drawing Boo most of the time until it was like irrelevant. Next up for 1-drops, Bad Ring Laser. I'm running at 4. This is like the key card to this deck, stealing games. I'm running at 4 because you have to pitch another yellow card in order to get it off. So sometimes I pitch another Bad Ring Laser, or I pitch Crusher Ball if I'm guaranteed going to kill my opponent. So it's like even to put a lot of pressure on my opponents and put them at 1, a Bad Ring Laser to force people to tap out. A lot of times against the Goku blue-green deck when I was playing. With 1 energy standing, they try to Whis Coercion, so I Bad Ring Laser while I was attacking with my leader Vegeta while he was critical. Kill it, and then they're essentially tapped out. So now that they're tapped out, they can't even negate the next attack that's coming. And you just want to combo enough so that they can't block it. So usually on a turn like this, I will make Vegeta 35k with critical and double strike. So just so my opponent has to drop 40k while they're tapped out, which is pretty hard. And then if they do it, you should have enough energy standing up because this should be your first attack for pressure. That you could leave blue standing to play your negates or to play your Crusher Balls and then go for the kill next turn. But you still swing out at your opponent's leader just to kill cards from their hand. Because there is a lot of pressure in this game when you're tapped out. But Bad Ring Laser at 4 just because you absolutely want to see it and it helps you steal games. Lastly, for 1-drops, I am running Crusher Ball at 3. So I was main decking it at 3 and then siding 1. Crusher Ball, advice for new players, like you only Crusher Ball cards that have on attack skills. So the 3-drop Gohan that's red promo, that when it attacks you draw. Or Kale, when it attacks they draw. You want to Crusher Ball Kale if your opponent drops it. if they drop the Gotenks, drop 3 on swing, it makes you discard a card. You might as well Crusher Ball it, because not only will you be taking attack, you'll also be losing the card in hand. So it's better to just lose a card in hand and not worry about an attack. Now, if your opponent drops the drop 5 Gotenks, and you are for sure that they can probably kill you, then you want to do it. Because the only reasons is you don't want to Crusher Ball too early or cards that aren't problematic. Like for Vegeta, a lot of times I keep my life at 4 just because I never want to be within any deck's kill range. However, if my opponent drops a Gotenks and he has nothing else on board that's threatening, I will not Crusher Ball. But after dropping that Gotenks and swinging with his leader, if he drops another Gotenks, I will Crusher Ball the second one. Player mechanics. Then we're going to the drop 2s now. Boost Attack Piccolo. Absolutely clutch in any leader deck, especially the ones that life break themselves. Yes, next meta, people that playing decks that life break themselves are still going to be running cards like these, and then everybody else may start actually running the Overrealm plus 10k and draws. But right now, for any leader, like with Vegeta, that you life break yourself, these are absolutely clutch. So if you mulligan and draw these, I advise keeping them because you'll get there. Next up for 2 drops, I'm running Unyielding Spirit Trunks at 4. It's good to catch people off guard because a lot of games what I've done is drop Mecha Frieza or drop Whis, swung with my leader while I'm tapped out, and then I combo Unyielding Spirit Trunks, like without using Vegeta's critical, just so they don't have the urge to negate it, just so I could stand up 1 yellow energy to play Crusher Ball during my opponent's turn, or to stand up a blue energy so I could senzu bean or play Whis Coercion during my opponent's turn. So, like, tapping out, like, at 4 in this deck is pretty safe the way that it's built because it's, like, a lot of defense that your opponent really can't get through. Alright.
Both sides of my head are shaking.
Alright, the video cut out while I was recording, so I'm going to finish with my 2 drops. I'm running 2 Darkness Eye Beam main board. It helped me steal a lot of games, and I primarily use it against blocker heavy decks, like every deck that has free blockers, or they play the revenge blockers like Android 16. Got one opponent one game because he had a whole bunch of 1-drops on the field, so I just rested all of his Bulls and Bomas, and then I swung out and like basically didn't kill him that turn, but I killed his entire hand. So that was good because then I took him from a position where he was going to be able to fight back to completely losing just because of this card. So just 2, and then I think I was siding. No, not siding any. Darkness Eye Beam. So next up, the 3 drops. 3 Gohan. Gohan's really good in Vegeta because you do not want to take extra damage, and cards like Kaba can rush you, so you want to hold your Gohans to combo in defensively only. Next up for 3 drops, Further in Destruction Chomper at 4. It's Champa and you're playing Vegeta, so almost always, like if you awaken before your opponent, it's so much pressure, and ideally you don't want to drop a Champa against your opponent unless you're critical and your opponent isn't awaking yet, because the new plus 10k and draws haven't come out yet, so there's not a lot that they could do about it to get around it except for like drop their whole hand. And then even if somebody Jaco's Champa, your card that you comboed this on still gains the double strike. So plus 10,000 power and then double strike, everything is pretty good, and it's like a no-brainer to use in Vegeta. Then lastly for my 3 drops, one of the cards that helped me steal so many games, Zarbon. When you combo Zarbon during your opponent's turn, you get to stand up one of your battle cards, and this could be pretty broken like how I used it. Then you can also save some of your Gohan, so that's what I used it for sometimes, just so my opponents couldn't attrition me if I knew that they didn't have anything to blow up my battle cards. But I'll get into it with the next card, which is the Whis, the Sacred Guard. I'm running at 3 because you can search it with Boma. So how I ran this card because it cannot be removed from the field by any of your opponent's card effects. So the only way that they can remove it from the field is by attacking it. So what I would do, like, this is only in here to like beat blue-green decks, and it does really good against the mirror match Vegeta, because a lot of Vegetas were running blue-red. So they swing with Akaba. Of course, you're going to block. But here's the kicker. Or they swing with Kale. Kale is already hitting this, so they're not going to combo. More than likely, they're not going to combo. So now you combo Zarbon. Now you're 25k, and Whis restands. And every time I drop the Whis, I would hold Zarbons in my hand to combo on him, just so my opponent could hit me. So their starter deck Goku can hit Whis when you block, and then you combo Zarbon and restand it. So you get around. You drop 1 card instead of having to drop a 10k to block their attacks, which is pretty good and helps you fight that deck where it's like their average power is over 20k. Also swinging in, like some people were running the Vegeta. When you combo in, he destroys a battle card. So Whis also gets around that because he can't be destroyed. So Revenge, nothing touched them, like as far as me swinging. So when they actually were running the like Yajirobis in 16, when I didn't get Darkness Eye Beam in order to get them off of the field, I was still able to swing out at my opponent without fear of losing a battle card. So great tech is great tech. Lastly, for 4 drops, I am only running 1 Mecha Frieza. I was only running 1 Mecha Frieza because all I had was 1 Mecha Frieza, because so many people play yellow here. I couldn't find any more. So, like, I got another one now, but as I was saying earlier, I would try to take out one of the negates to add another Mecha Frieza, because the ideal turns that I would use for this is turn 4, if my opponent played a Goten and a Kale, if I crush a ball the Kale or they swung out with everything, I drop Mecha Frieza, discard 1 card, and then blow up both of that cards. So it's like you want to keep your opponents, if they're playing starter deck Goku, with not having battle cards. So they're rusted, you just blow them up. And then as soon as I'd swing, I'd combo Unyielding Trunks. Restand the energy. If I had negates or senzu bean, I'll restand the blue. Or if I have a crusher ball to survive next turn and I already got Whis on board, then I'd restand the yellow. So boom. And then it's like, of course your opponent's going to swing at him because he's a fucking 15k battle card. You just let him die. There's no reason to try to keep Frieza alive other than his dual attack. The only other card in the deck that you could possibly keep him alive with is Zarbon. So you combo over that power if you can, and then like restand it. Oh yeah, also the note on Whis, I forgot to mention. If your opponent's playing Jiren, it's really simple to deal with it. On their first attack, they're probably going to attack Whis. Then you just fucking negate the attack. And then when they go to swing again, you block with Whis and then combo the Zarbon. Like, Jiren is not scary at all with dealing with Whis. Like, you can crush your ball him with this deck. You can negate his first attack or, like, whatever. And then lastly, my drop 5s. Vegeta, Prince of Speed. For anybody that drug out the game for me, I dropped this on my 5 turn. Usually my games would be over by energy drop 4 or 5, so I wouldn't have to really use this. Because it's like if I put my opponent at 2 or 3 going into my last turn, I wouldn't even play any more battle cards. Because I want all of my energy to combo in plus 10k after I Bad Ring Laser or negate. Or if they don't negate, I'm going to go all in. But this is good to keep up your hand advantage as you slap your opponent. And lastly, for drop 5s, I'm running 3 Mass Saiyan. He does not remove blockers, but he removes stuff like Gotenks and Kale. And he also removes a lot of little stuff. So it's like you get rid of a few Kabas and Boos and stuff. Usually I throw off my opponents with these because I will remove battle cards that are standing, like that they could combo off easily, like Boo or Bulma, if I'm pushing offensively. But defensively, I would remove bigger threats like Kale or Gotenks, Jiren. But usually the one drops. If you're doing an offensive push, you want to remove as much combo power as you can that's standing on your opponent's field. And essentially, Mad Saiyan himself becomes a one drop for over round 5, and you'll get there by your energy drop 4 or 5. So you want to do it as drop him as soon as possible, as soon as you have 5 in your drop zone to clear out your opponent's field. Because how I've designed this deck is to primarily like destroy your opponent's field. So, for example, if you awaken before your opponent and they were blocking all of your critical attacks, and they're playing a leader that does not awaken themselves, attack their battle cards. Force them to play something like Result of Training. You don't want them to have any type of advantage. It's a little more tricky while dealing with the starter deck Goku. With your criticals, you want to just regularly critical and attack with Vegeta's skill. If they take it, good. If not, fine. Also swing at them with your other battle cards. Don't hold back against that deck. And then once you get them to a point where they're at like 5 life, then you swing at them with Vegeta with critical, and that's when you combo a Champa. Because with starter deck Goku, you want to put them from 5 to 3 instead of putting them from 6 to 4 and letting them awaken. Because it's like you can almost guarantee that they will not let you hit them again if you put them from 6 to 4. So with Vegeta, you have to be really mindful of your matchups, and you always want to do like from 5 to 3 Champa. So when your opponent's at 5 and you use Vegeta's critical is what I'm referring to, and then combo a Champa. That's what I usually hold Champas for. And then the next Champa is to push for game. And then running Bad Ring Laser and the Mass Saiyan fodder. But that really helps with pushing for game down the game. We're having a 1-drop 20k swing. But if you have any questions or concerns, leave a comment. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and we'll try to have more good deck profiles coming up soon. Peace.